But the reason that we are, having these racial discussions right now after an election that the Democrats have lost and that they are losing the cultural narrative on, this is their MO in terms of, they did not obviously create that, but they find these stories. Okay, they find these stories and then they insert them into the media. And when I say, I'm talking the global and domestic left, there is a collaboration, I believe, between the global and the domestic left, and there's a culture war going on to divide America, to divide Americans, using the racial tensions the historical racial tensions between Black and white people. And then also, when they can't do the Black and white thing, it's going to be police officers, right? Because their whole thing is to disarm Americans, to villainize police officers, things like that, because this is part of a strategy of globalist, and I believe communism, to infiltrating its way into this country through
100%.
That's why we're talking about this, because they have they're waging a culture war. Our enemies, our foreign enemies, are waging a culture war, and they have recruited, knowingly or unknowingly, but mostly probably unknowingly, Americans into this Marxist communist ideology, and have sold it to us, and they've sold it specifically to Black Americans as a pathway to true liberation, to a way to liberate themselves from the oppressors and things like that. So police represent oppression and so on and so forth. So we wouldn't get into the police officers should have tased them and all of that. I don't think we would have gotten into that sort of discussion. I think it would have just been based on the merits. Like, this man was mentally disturbed. He had an altercation with the police back was against the wall, and this is what unfortunately occurred because this man was out of control. Same thing with George Floyd and many of the other things, that it would have just been a discussion based on the merits. If the police in those videos would have been shown as being negligent and really did something wrong, then the discussion with reasonable common sense people would have been, they're wrong and they should be punished, and that would be the end of it. If it, you know what I'm saying? But we can't look at the case on the merits. It always has to turn into some sort of Black versus white thing, or police officer versus a Black man sort of thing.
Right. Hey, I like when you said if you took the race out of it, that would probably be, if it had been a Black cop and a Black suspect, we probably wouldn't even be hearing about this. We wouldn't be talking about this right now. Or had both of them been white, we definitely wouldn't have been hearing about this at all. Like, this we wouldn't even be having this discussion now. But the fact that it was a Black activist, a community leader, it caused everyone to assume the officer. I mean, we're supposed to live in a country where you're innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But we hear a little bit of news and, race. Oh, they did it because of his skin color. The assumption, it is automatically assumed that race has something to do with it.